Hey, this is David again. Today's tutorial is pretty good. It's my logo is right out of 1992. I got to work on that. But here we go. I've got some reference pictures in the background. I've got my generic mesh in the foreground that is going to save me some awkward steps in the beginning of these things, assuming I'm doing a head in the first place. So here I am. I've got the side and the front lined up in the orthographic views when I choose to use them, so I can get my major shapes in very quickly without making too many big mistakes. So uh, the workflow you've seen before. It's just kind of work on the big stuff first, and then smooth out the really horrible parts, and kind of zoom in and uh, and then work on fine detail later on. Um, you'll find in 3D Coat that you have to occasionally step up the resolution of the model you're working on so it can hold those fine details. And I'll point out when I'm doing that. It's sometimes you see me bringing up the pop-up menu and choosing res up, but maybe you can't see that because this is going kind of fast. This was about an hour's work, and I sped it up 6 times to make it a 10-minute video. Um, and I make quite a bit of progress in 10 minutes. I mean, excuse me, in an hour. But the hard part is ahead. The hard part is making a generally good-looking head into a realistic-looking face and head with hair. Um, you see the hair a little later on. It's not really good, but yeah, I'm learning, and learn with me. Watch as I proceed. Uh, let's see. Yeah. Okay, these are my kind of common moves I do when I'm doing a head of any kind. I kind of want to paint in a jawline early on. And this one is a little bumpy and stays a little bumpy for quite a while. Um, I find that the smoothing tool, the smoothing function, which is crucial and critical in sculpting, is is sometimes very overpowered. Generally, you see me adjusting the power of each tool, because when sculpting, I'm always doing either too much influence or too little influence, just too big a brush and too small a brush the whole time. But fortunately, those controls are readily at hand. It's just a mouse click and drag away. You see the yellow circle that is the kind of the action area of any tool. And if you look a little bit closer, in the middle of each the middle of that yellow circle, you'll see a red line coming across, and the height of the bump in that red line is how much influence the tool has. And you can adjust those two things very quickly while you're working, as well as navigating around. Took a little while to get used to the navigation in this application, since it's very different from Lightwave, which I have 15, 17 years of experience in. All right, well, things are proceeding here. I'm getting a little distracted. The news is really bothering me. I don't want to go into specifics, but politics kind of gets my back up sometimes. Yeah, I like to have political discussions with the right kind of people, but this isn't really a place for politics. Other than, I just want to point out, government's is an important thing to have. It's nothing we can do without. There are many functions that just could not be done uh, by industry, by private for-profit industry. And so we need government now, and we need the functions, we need the services that we've paid into all our working lives. And I'd just like to point out that one of our political parties keeps saying, and actually their campaigns kind of rely on the idea of them telling us that government doesn't work. Well, if you hire somebody into government that relies on you believing that government doesn't work, what do you think they're going to do when they get into it? They're going to sabotage. Boy, I'm taking a long time on this ear, but that's, ears deserve it. And lips, mouths, they deserve the attention. So yeah, we're hiring people that are saboteurs, essentially. Happens all over the country. Right now the president is of the different party. But, governors across the country are, well, they're really messing up their home states and not making people happy, and they just continue to get hired. It's like this country has two political parties. We're only allowed to have two functioning parties. And one of them is crazy, is absolutely, literally insane. And no one mentions that on television. It's the biggest news story of the century in this country, and nobody can say it. All right, I'm off my soapbox. Well, you can see with reference, you do pretty well making a model. If I can do it, anybody can do it. The trick, I suppose, is picking up good reference, but that's very easy. It's on the internet. You look for one of these front and side sets of pictures or individual pictures. I'm using the same one, front and back, or front and to the side, and it's working out for me. It's from a book by a gentleman named Andrew Loomis on figure drawing, and he has some excellent illustrations in there with all sorts of proportion lines and so on. It's made for traditional art, but his reference pictures work quite well for 3D artists as well. Oh yeah, now here I'm trying to make hair happen. Boy, you want to shut off the symmetry as soon as possible after you start the hair, because symmetrical hair just it's not a good look, at least in 3D art. Yeah, I'm trying to work in a part in the hair, and this is kind of almost looking like a giant brain slug is attacking this poor woman, and here I am slashing it and trying to scar it up, and that's not really helping out. I need to study other people working on hair. There's lots of these time-lapse sculpting and modeling videos online on YouTube, but they're time-lapse and things go very quickly, and it's hard for me to recognize what people are doing. I suppose I ought to take that lesson to heart and do some real-time sculpting for you, but as I said, I'm just not very good at this, so I would bore you, I think, with real-time modeling. Okay, this is male pattern baldness, I think. I need to pull some out over the temple there. I don't know if I do that later on. Here I am trying different brushes and seeing how that is for surfacing the brain slug here. I mean the hair. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start over with the hair here. The face kind of deserves it. The face was done fairly well, and I shouldn't abandon it at this point. So maybe my next video will be redoing the hair and maybe doing some texturing on the face and make it look a little more human. Oh, a little more concentration on the ears. That's nice. A well done ear is a nice thing to see. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes those background images, they kind of get in the way. But it's just another tool in the toolbox. And very important, I think, for me and maybe for a lot of other people. I don't know, does she look like the drawing? Who knows? See you next time.